Welcome back, everyone. This is the Orthrus Mordu Legion faction cruiser, or should I say Mordu Legion pirate cruiser. Now, this is one of the newest ships, alongside with the Statios, both of which I own at the moment. And finally, I can see my nanocores that did not work. I had to actually reinstall the game in order to make the colors show up. So, this ship here might be one of the best combat ships, combat cruisers, currently available in the game. And well, first let's take a look at the ship's appearance. Now, I first thought that Cinnabal was the longest faction cruiser in the game. Well, Orthrus is actually almost a kilometer long, 776 meters from one side to the other. Now this model here is flickering, so I'll just use the model that I have here in the station. A very unique looking ship. Mordu Legion ships are known to be flat, as you can see here. Very thin ships. Now that can also reflect on their tankiness. They are very fragile ships, and I do not want to get caught in close range. Now, the roll bonus will give you minus 50% missile torpedo flight time, plus 200% missile torpedo velocity, plus 1 warp scrambler strength. A pretty powerful roll bonus, can be used mainly for PvP, but also has uses for PvE. Overall, a very interesting and unique bonus. Advanced medium missile torpedo operation bonus will give you plus 5% medium missile torpedo damage, plus 5% medium missile torpedo explosion velocity. Again, can be applicable for both PvE and PvP. Advanced cruiser command bonus will give you plus 10% warp scrambler and plus 10% warp disruptor optimal range. So yeah, the second skill will definitely have uses in PvP. Ship has 1 drone, 6 high slots, 4 medium, 4 low slots, 3 combat and 3 engineering rigs. Interesting number of high slots, should mean it should have a very good DPS output. This ship is primarily a shield tank, but I really recommend that you stay away from any incoming damage. It has a poor capacitor, which I think does balance the ship out quite a bit. Decent recharge rate, a rather very small signature radius comparing it to the actual ship size, a average scan resolution, a average sensor strength. It is quite fast, one of the, I think the second fastest faction cruiser in the game, and I'll show that later on. So, time to show you my build for this ship. Now, I currently use medium missile launchers. And here is where things get interesting with the Orthrus. You have 3 types of missiles: medium missiles, rapid missiles, and torpedoes. All of these weapons are very usable on this ship. Now, the warp jammer strength on the scramblers will be 5, optimal range 20.63 kilometers, can be up to 22 kilometers. That is a very evil scrambler range, and 45 kilometer range on the points. In the low slots, micro updrive capacitor battery, ballistic control, and a large shield booster. Now, if you don't like the shield booster, you can easily swap that into a large shield extender, and I think for this ship a large shield extender is actually going to work way better than a shield booster, but currently I don't have one available for me, so I'll just stick with the large shield booster. This ship really needs capacitor batteries if you use the shield booster or shield extender because of the poor capacitor. Now, if you're in a fleet, you can easily swap that battery for another ballistic control, or you can easily swap that with a missile guidance system that will further improve the range on your missiles. Overall, this ship is built for both long range and close range combat. 59 kilometers cold range with 1 missile guidance computer. That can go up to 80 plus kilometers. My record is 120 kilometers with this ship. Now, Let me just take a look at some more modules. I still prefer this ship to be used at long range. Dual ballistic control also does work just fine. In my case here I can actually swap back to a C-type shield booster, I believe. Let me just check that out. Yeah, it fits. Okay. The power grid should be almost maxed out. Now, capacitor 40 seconds runtime with everything activated. That is one of the reasons why I prefer to have a capacitor battery. A large capacitor battery I think can fit. Don't have one at my disposal at the moment, so that's also one thing that you can place in this ship. But for any type of close range combat, I'll have to change my rigs, and I'll show you my rigs in a moment. Let me just go back and place the battery in its place. Okay, that's the power grid, almost 100% used. There's still room for improvement, of course. We'll play around with the build. Quite a bit. Now on to the rigs. I have triple auxiliary thrusters to make this ship as fast as my old Cinnabal. As for the combat rigs that improve missile velocity, range and damage, my plan is to change all of these rigs into rig integrations, just like I did on my Stratios, so that's also a thing that I can do. If you don't like medium missile launchers, you can also use torpedoes. They still have decent range and decent flight velocity. 850 DPS. Now for this fit, I really recommend that you have more resistance, so dual adaptive invulnerability fields, dual scramblers. One web and one point should do the job, or you can replace that one disruptor into one Nosferatu or neutralizer. As for the rigs, well, I would definitely need more resistance for a brawling fit, so rigs would be replaced with shield resistance and shield volume rigs. Biggest hole here is on the EM resistance, so that's one hole that you would need to patch if you are looking to use this ship as a close range or a medium range ship. That's why I still, like I said before, prefer to use this thing at medium to long ranges away from any cruiser's weapons, and for that job it works very well, as I'll show you later when I jump in the PvP part. Republic Fleet large shield booster or shield extender will still get the job done, although for a active fit I would recommend a Nosferatu. And of course for the medium range combat you can place rapid missile launchers. I don't have any C-types at my disposal at this station, so I'll just use the current ones just to show that you can also pick a fit like this. For medium ranges up to 30 kilometers or even closer, dual scrambler or dual points will get the job done. You can also place one large Nosferatu if you like. As for the rigs, would still prefer to use resistance rigs with any close and mid-range combat with the Orthrus. Alright, well, let's take a look at how this will perform. I want to show you the velocity of this ship and the DPS with my current primary build. So, when the ballistic control is activated, almost 1000 DPS. Okay, the battery complaining, let's ignore that for a moment. 13 km per second flight velocity. I did get that up to 20 km per second with a different build for another time that I'll show you as well. Okay, the resistance is still quite low as expected. This ship is not built to take damage, my current ship is not, but you can change that. 3.1 km per second speed with the micro warp drive, which is just as quick as my Cinnabal. Just a little bit slower because I did pick the torpedo damage, the missile torpedo damage as my nanocore, but you can choose between that, shield or flight velocity. All of these options are very useful, so you can pick which one you think will suit you more. In my case, it is missile damage, but in the future I might change that into speed. Overall, a very scary ship. Now, I use the capacitor battery for very obvious reasons, and that is this ship's capacitor combined with a micro updrive installed is not that good. And well, if I have to use my shield booster, my capacitor runs down very quickly. Before this fit, I did play around without a capacitor battery, and I found myself running out of cap in very dangerous situations. So capacitor battery definitely going to be very useful on the Orthrus if you plan to use it as a medium to long range combat ship. And you can use the capacitor battery to keep the shield booster running. It uses 373 gigajoule per cycle. Should last for a couple cycles before the capacitor battery's effect is out. Okay, and that's how I imagine to use this ship. And so far I can tell you, no spoilers ahead, but it works quite well. I'm very impressed with how this ship works. Alright, enough of me talking, let's blast some ships out of the sky. First target. Well, we have a Macarial here, a very unfortunate Macarial. And immediately I have to say, well, I haven't seen one of these ships in a while. So, this ship can point at 45 kilometers. It's fast, literally a faction cruiser killer. It can take out even an Ashimu if you are careful, and I can't wait to actually get my chance to fight an Ashimu in an Orthrus. Against battleships, yeah, you can literally tackle any battleship that you want. An Apocalypse might be a problem because they can track quite well at 45 kilometers, but anything else should be easy. This Macarial now going into armor. You will be very surprised by the and the Macarial has a nanocore. Oh my god, this is going to be a very juicy target. I can't wait to see what will happen. You'll be surprised with the alpha damage on the Orthrus. It is comparable to alpha damage of battleships with for example autocannons, and that's quite impressive. Macarial now going into hull, doing 5,000 damage per volley. That's nice. Couple more missiles and that Macarial is going to be destroyed. Nice. All right. Well, F in the chat because that was a nice kill. Let's take out the pod. I'll try to see what's inside of that wreck. Now you also notice that the missiles are practically insta-hit after they're being launched. That is because of the ridiculously high missile velocity. Your missiles are practically artillery cannons. That's how they at least feel with this ship. Very useful against long-range combat, and very useful against fast ships, very useful against interceptors and other frigates, against cruisers, practically useful against everything. Speaking of cruisers, well, or should I say speaking of battleships, going towards the next target. This ship is also quite expensive. I forgot to mention that fact. They used to go on sale for about 13 billion up to 15 billion. I've seen them go for 17 billion, so ridiculously expensive ships. Okay, let's go towards that gate. The target did not go at this usual gate, they went at the other usual gate.
Warp drive active.
So if you happen to lose one of these ships, yeah, it will hurt a lot. They are still ridiculously expensive, and insurance is not cheap as well. I definitely do not want to lose this thing, but I fly it, so it's fun. It's a very fun ship to fly, surprisingly fun. It really reminds me on the Cinnabel, with a little bit more uses for PvP and better bonuses. Okay, we have a Raven. Lovely. Let's focus fire. This is the build with dual, I think dual ballistic controls, or at least one ballistic and one missile guidance. I think, yeah, that's the second option that I choose. Raven in low armor. The missiles are still doing devastating damage on the battleship. Highest hit I've ever gotten was 9,000 damage against a Armageddon. Did not expect that much damage, but it did. And the damage output is going to be increased over time. Right, that was a sweet kill. Let's burn back to the gate. Couple of these ships can do serious damage to battleships, can do serious damage to fleets.
Warp drive active.
Can't wait to actually see more of our corp fly these things, because they show a opportunity for some very interesting tactics. Alright, next target, going to warp towards that gate. Now this one is going to be also a interesting target. I just have to jump through the gate on time, and I'm arriving on time so far. Basically jumping into enemy territory. Basically a system that, well, you'll see. I don't need to explain that. I mean, it's a salt mine, so I love that system. Okay, there is a Vigilant and we have a Merlin Assault. So should I nuke the Merlin Assault first, or should I go after the Vigilant? I think the Vigilant is the better target here, so I'll just go after that Vigilant that's already tackled and has aggression, so they cannot jump. Let's quickly build up range. Don't want to get caught in Vigilant's webs. Already out of the web range. First missile deleted its shield. That was a big hit. Okay, let's turn on the second ballistic control. Second hit deleted the armor of the Vigilant. You know, this is a faction cruiser, and that's also a faction cruiser. And now they are in hull, just now taking less damage. Well, did not expect to see this Vigilant be destroyed this fast. Those were some very big hits on that faction cruiser. So Orthrus, yeah, if you get caught by one of these ships, if you can jump, rip. Going to be a very rough time for your ship. And you can basically do the same trick on any other faction cruiser in the game, including the Ashimu. You can easily
Warp drive active.
You can easily outrun an Ashimu at 45 kilometers. You can point them, you can keep them pointed. Their neutralizers or webs and Nosferatus are not going to be efficient enough to deplete your capacitor. In fact, they will destroy their own capacitor. So if you're flying an Ashimu, avoid these ships at long-range combat situations. Next target, we have a Myrmidon. Now I'll just show you how fragile this ship is, and this is going to be a perfect target for that. I don't like to fight Myrmidons because they are very nasty ships. They have very nasty drone damage, and they can repair themselves very quickly. So tackling a Myrmidon, even in a faction cruiser, is dangerous. They are now in low armor. They decided to launch their drones on me. Those are hammerheads. They will do thermal damage. My second lowest resistance on this ship. Will boost my shield as long as I can. I will try not to kill my capacitor to keep the micro updrive running and the points running. I am now getting in low shield, Myrmidon is getting in low hull. That one missile volley should do the job, or the next one. And of course, my bad internet connection kicks in just in time, so did not see the explosion, but did destroy that ship. And I am now in armor. Now, this ship is like a Caldera ship. If you lose your shield, you should immediately try to warp out, because their armors are terrible, and you do not want to take armor damage, because it will go down incredibly fast. But me being me, I have to loot the wreck, so I'm going back without shield. I am in low capacitor. That was a sweet kill, by the way. Should get some good drones out of that Myrmidon. Or should I say out of the wreck of that Myrmidon. Let's burn to the wreck before anyone else decides to scan me down. Currently I am a very easy target with low capacitor and low shield. Well, not low shield, without shield. As you can see, even these pirate ships here do some dangerous damage on my armor, despite them being not that dangerous. So I have to quickly warp out before they start to do serious damage on the armor of this very thin ship. Next target, a tornado on gate. So you can outmaneuver basically any large weapons, any large cannon, including the cannons of a tornado. Already outside of the autocannon range, way too fast for artillery to track me, so I just have to shoot the tornado down. They did lock me there burning to the gate, so they might jump unless they start opening fire. I see a large shield extender working there. They are approaching the gate and they jumped. Well, was a nice attempt at least. If I did go for the scrambler, I might have actually had that ship, but I keep range on the Orthrus. Next target, Atron 2. Now, this ship kills interceptors. In some cases, it can one-hit them. So, if you're an interceptor pilot, stay away from these ships, because they don't forgive if they start shooting you. Okay, let's grab the loot. Okay, nice. I really need to test out another fit that should technically one-hit a faction frigate. That is the one that I don't currently have ISK for, but the idea on paper sounds pretty good. And now the ship for PvE. Well, it's very interesting. If you're an alpha pilot that has enough ISK in the future, if you get this ship and if you plan to use it for storyline missions, encounters, I would still stay away from low sec, because you have a lot of pirates that are very hungry for very expensive ships, so I would still stay away from low sec. But for high sec encounters, this ship is surprisingly good. That's because of the roll bonus that does have an effect even without Omega. So one of the, surprisingly, despite the price of this ship, one of the most alpha friendly ships in the game. Not quite sure if any other ship besides the Gila does offer similar things, similar bonuses, but Gila, Gila or the Orthus are pretty good if you don't have Omega Clone activated in the game. They are expensive, but if you are careful, if you stick to high sec only, or if you are very careful in low sec, they get the job done surprisingly well, even if you have an alpha clone. I'll try that theory out when I run out of Omega, which should happen in the next, I don't know, 30 days or something. We'll be very curious to see how they would perform. But with this ship, I actually have my faction cruiser collection completed. I have them all now, and I will bring all of them to this station here, just for display. And of course, I will fly them one by one for various scenarios. With that being said, hope that you enjoyed. It was a lovely, lovely ride. A very dangerous and very scary ship. We'll be working on its builds. Furthermore, of course, we'll be working for the fits in the future. And with that being said, hope that you enjoyed. Stay safe, fly safe, and I'll see you next time.